Look, I'm wearing shorts. I'm in my comfy clothes today because today's my day off. I just got out of the shower and I remembered I have a story I want to share with you guys. So today I'm going to be sharing with you this story about how I had a lens, a $1,000 lens, stolen from me in a Facebook marketplace scam. It's pretty crazy, pretty interesting, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So first things first, to those of you who may not know me, my name is Jared. I'm a product photographer and a content creator from Monroe, Louisiana. I pretty much dedicate my life to taking photos and content and that sort of thing for various brands, as well for myself. So I have relatively expensive camera gear that helps me get that job done. And every now and again, you find a piece of equipment that just isn't working for you, so you decide, okay, it's time to change things up. And that's exactly what happened to me. So it all started on a Monday afternoon, right after getting off work. My wife, Kaylee, who is also a photographer, needed some help gathering some photos of some products that she was working on for a brand. She asked me to help her, and so I grabbed my trusty Canon 6D Mark II and my Canon 35mm f1.4 Mark I lens and headed downstairs to the downtown streets of Monroe, Louisiana to snap some photos for her.
We actually went right down there and a little bit right there, but mostly right down there.
So we take all the photos, everything turns out great. I get to the end of taking all the photos and start kind of looking back on my time that I've spent with this particular camera setup, because at this point I've had the Canon 35 for a couple of years and then the Canon 6D Mark II around the same amount of time. So these two have been my trusty steed. However, I don't use the Canon 35mm nearly as much as I think I probably should use it in order to justify keeping it. There are other lenses that I would use way more. So I make a very impromptu decision Monday afternoon to sell my Canon 35mm f1.4 Mark I lens. So the first thing I do as soon as I get done shooting the photos, I come upstairs and I set the lens up and I shoot several different nice product clean pictures of this lens and I throw them up on Facebook Marketplace, and I am pumped. I am so excited. You know that feeling you get when you're about to sell something and you're just ready to get it done because you've got something else that you want to purchase and you're just let's get it done. So I take the lens, I throw it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm selling it for $1,050. The next morning, Tuesday morning, I'm sitting at work and I get a Facebook message. Now, for privacy reasons, we're going to call this individual Ellie. I'll explain why I'm keeping her identity a secret in just a moment, but for right now, we're just gonna call her Ellie. So I get this message from this woman named Ellie. So the message reads, "I'm looking to buy this for my son as a gift, and I'm sure that he'll love it. I'll pay for postage and I will do PayPal. I'd appreciate if you could have this in the mail for him once I send the payment today. I need your email to send the payment, please, and thank you." Now, as a photographer, I deal with PayPal on a regular basis. I'm very familiar with how it operates and that sort of thing, so her asking for my email was nothing suspicious at all. So I very quickly give her my email address because, as you can imagine, I'm very excited to be selling this lens. And she says, "Hey, can you go ahead and take it to the post office right now and get it shipped 1 day priority? I'm trying to get it for my son before he leaves for a trip tomorrow." So right after she says this, I receive an email from PayPal claiming that she has used the goods and services feature through PayPal. Now, I'm not familiar with the goods and services feature through PayPal, but basically based on what I read, how it works is when you're selling something and somebody pays you, the payment is pending until you ship the lens off and provide a tracking number to PayPal. It's kind of insurance on both ends for both parties. So I go to the post office and she's requested 1 day shipping, and she actually paid an additional $100 for me to send the lens 1 day priority. So I package it up, send it off 1 day priority, take the tracking number and send it back to PayPal. So the return email that I get states that when she receives the package and confirms that she has received the package, the amount that is pending will be released to my account. Now, I'll be honest, this seems a bit fishy in the moment and I'm a little bit apprehensive, but I'm not entirely familiar with everything to do with PayPal. So in my mind, I'm just thinking, okay, maybe this is just something I've never heard of before. And I didn't think anything else of it. Hindsight, I should have done more research. I know you guys are already probably on the other end screaming, "No, why did you do that?" Because I'm an idiot, basically, and I was anxious to sell my lens. So fast forward to that evening, my wife and I have a friend over for dinner, and we're sitting watching a movie, And I start thinking about this email, so I pull it up, and the email just starts to look more and more fishy the longer I look at it. So I actually pause the movie and show the email to my wife and to my friend, and both of them say, "This seems a bit dodgy." So I go to Facebook and I look into Ellie, and she's very much so a real person with family members and friends, and she makes regular Facebook posts and updates her profile picture regularly and all of these other sorts of things. So I'm trying to just have faith and just assume and believe the best. But at the same time, I'm still a little apprehensive, so I send her a message and I say, "Hey, I'm not really sure, this PayPal email seems a bit sketchy." And she says, "Hey, I can assure you it's very much so legit. I use this feature regularly. If by tomorrow PayPal refuses to release the pending funds to your account, when I receive the lens, I will cancel the payment and I will resend the funds through the payment method of your choice." So at this point, I'm a little affirmed. I'm feeling a little bit better, not entirely better, but a little bit better, and I move on with my evening. So the next morning rolls around and I'm frantically watching the tracking number to see when the package has been delivered, because I'm very anxious to see whether or not I'm going to receive the funds. So around 11 o'clock, the lens is delivered and I receive a message from her saying, "Hey, just got the lens. It's in great condition. Looks fantastic. You should be getting an email confirmation from PayPal in just a moment saying that your funds have been released to your account." So I wait and wait and wait, and eventually the email shows up. And this is what the email read. "Dear Jared, we ran a check on your account and we figured that the transaction ID and funds details sent to you by Ellie, which is delaying because of an issue linking your card with your account. We are very sorry for any sort of inconvenience this might have caused. To rectify the issue on your PayPal account linking to your card, you will need to get an Amazon gift card of $300 from Walmart or any store to activate your money instantly, and your account will be well linked with your card and we will credit your account today with no delay." I mean, it's very obvious what's going on. And so I very quickly reply to Ellie and I say, "Hey, look, I'm not an idiot. I know I might seem like one because I've gone along with this for as long as I have, and I might even feel like one in this very moment, but I'm not an idiot. Cancel this payment and pay me what you owe me for my lens." What follows was a message thread between myself and Ellie wherein she refused to pay me by any other payment method. She tells me that if I would get the Amazon gift card of $300 and send it back, all problems would be solved. Now again, I continue to refuse to do this because I'm not an idiot. I feel like one, but I'm not an idiot. So as this continues for the next couple of hours, eventually I get fed up and I decide I'm going to take this to the authorities. But before I do, I want to go ahead and research the address that I had this lens shipped to. So I get on my computer, start doing a little bit of research for the address, and I find that the company I sent the lens to is actually called Shop to Ship. Basically what this company does is they offer services to people who are overseas who want to purchase things that are only sold in the United States. So every now and again, you'll see a brand that says we only ship to the US and Canada. If somebody over in Africa wants to order something like that, they can order it, have it shipped to Shop to Ship in Miami, Florida, and then have it shipped from there to their location in Africa. Now, this is a rather clever ruse because it ensures that as soon as it's delivered to Shop to Ship in Miami, I would lose sight of it because the tracking number just says delivered, and I have no way to track it from Shop to Ship to wherever it's going. So as you can imagine, when I read this, I start to get very nervous that my lens and my funds are gone forever. So I go ahead and search the number for the Miami Police Department and I call them and tell them the whole story about what the business is and these sorts of things. The dispatch officer that I spoke with was very kind and honestly a little bit sympathetic towards my situation. She recommended that I get in touch with the FBI and let them know about my situation and let them handle the situation. Now, at this point, it's kind of funny, but it's not funny at the same time. I'm starting to get nervous because now the FBI is involved. So it's becoming very real. This is becoming a really serious situation. But per her advice, I call the FBI and let them know everything that's going on. The agent that I spoke with notated everything that I said, and then at the end of everything, she gave me a website to go to fill out an official report with the FBI. So I go to the website, fill out an official report, and send it off. So at this point, I've stopped messaging Ellie per the advice of the federal agent that I spoke with. And so Ellie takes it upon herself to start basically taunting me through Facebook Messenger. Hey, do you not want your lens back? Hey, what about the funds? Are you gonna do the $300? Fine, I'll just keep the lens. Those sorts of things. So I have way too big of an ego and far too much pride to let somebody taunt me and get away with it, especially when they have something that I own or they refuse to pay me what I'm owed. So I decided to do a little investigation of my own. I pop on Facebook, go to her page, and I'm looking for where she lives. Now, she doesn't have it listed on her Facebook account. However, her son, who is listed on her Facebook account, does. So I go to his page and find out that she lives in Lima, Ohio. Now again, at this point, I have been given very stern instructions from the FBI not to correspond with this lady anymore. However, I wanted to give her a chance to surrender the lens to me and we could just move on. So I send her one more message. I don't care what sort of scams you do with other people, but the fact is, I either need that lens or I need that payment. I've spoken with the Miami Police Department and was transferred to the FBI and spoke with the Cyber Crimes Unit and was told to go to this URL and fill out an official report with everything that you've done so far. Then, as just an extra little jab, I actually linked the URL that I was sent to and I said, this is the website if you'd like to look into that. I've done some research and to the best of my ability, I've concluded that you live in the Kettlersville/Lima area of Ohio. I plan to contact the local sheriff's department in the morning and report my lens is stolen with your information attached. All I'm asking is that you send my lens back or issue me the payment by tomorrow morning. Her reply was very simple. Good luck. So as soon as I receive that message, I decide, all right, it's time to call the local authorities. So I call Lima, Ohio, and I get in touch with their local police department. I give him the whole spiel. I tell him everything that has gone on, and he seems very concerned and interested in my situation. So I asked to speak to a detective, but at the time, it's a little too late in the evening for me to talk to a detective, so I just had to share all of my information with him and trust that he was going to send it to the correct person. So while I'm talking and sharing all of this information with him, he actually looks her up on Facebook, and lo and behold, yes, she lives there, and he actually knows her. So he advises that I go to the Monroe Police Department the next day, fill out a report, and have them call back to the sheriff's department there in Lima, Ohio, and have the whole situation sorted that way. So that's exactly what I do. The next morning, Thursday morning, I get up, go to grab some coffee with the intentions of heading to the Monroe Police Department directly after that. While I'm grabbing coffee, I receive another message from Ellie wherein she asks if I've really been in touch with the FBI. At this point, it's pretty obvious that she's getting nervous. Rightfully so. The FBI is involved now. This is a pretty serious situation. So she says, I've shipped the lens back to you. So at this point, I can't not reply. I want to know if she's actually serious and if she's actually sent my lens back to me. So I message her and tell her to send me a tracking number, and she says, call the FBI and have them call off the dogs, basically. And I replied and said, no, I'm not going to do that. And then she said, fine, I'll keep the lens and I'll just wait for the FBI to come find me. Now again, it's becoming more and more evident that I'm not dealing with Ellie. I'm dealing with somebody else who's a lot more manipulative, but at this point seeming a lot more frightened. So I leave the coffee shop, go to the Monroe Police Department, get in touch with an officer, and she files a complete report with everything that has happened up until this moment. My conversations with Ellie, the emails I've received from PayPal, my conversations with the Miami Police Department, my conversation with the feds, my conversations with the Sheriff's Department in Lima, Ohio, everything. She writes all of it down, notates everything, and she has everything she needs to conduct a full investigation. Now, I'm starting to get really excited because the officer seems very interested in the situation, and what she asks me to do is get in touch with the Sheriff's Department in Lima, Ohio again, and have them call her so they can conduct the investigation that way. So I call back to the Sheriff's Department in Lima, Ohio, and they tell me no, it needs to go the other way around because the Monroe Police Department has already filed a report. For the Lima, Ohio Sheriff's Department to do anything, they need to get permission from the Monroe Police Department so they're not overstepping jurisdictions, which kind of makes sense. But I will be honest, at this point, I'm starting to get frustrated that I'm going back and forth and back and forth. I just want somebody to figure out where my lens is. So I call back to the Monroe Police Department, speak with the officer yet again, and tell her everything that the Lima, Ohio Sheriff's Department says. And she says, okay, we'll handle it from here. At this point, it's a waiting game. I've done everything I can do. I've looked her up on white pages. I've researched her on Facebook. I've looked up the shop to ship place. I've called the Miami PD and the FBI and this Sheriff's Department and this police department, and I've done everything. It's just a waiting game. 1 week later, I receive a phone call from the officer in the Monroe Police Department, and she says, Jared, I'm calling you with some bad news. She says, I just got off the phone with the Sheriff's Department in Lima, Ohio. They went to Miss Ellie's house, met with her, and she's a woman in her mid-70s who doesn't even have Facebook on her iPhone 6, much less is she the one messaging you. Also, Ellie is apparently very well off. She has no use for my $1,000 lens or to be selling stuff basically on the black market as a hobby, unless this is just what she decided to do with her retirement. And that's it. That's the end of the story thus far. I still have not gotten my lens back. I still have not received the funds. This has been going on for about 5 weeks now, and as you can well imagine, I am very frustrated with the situation. But all of this comes with a very, very valuable lesson learned. Firstly, don't get in a rush. When it comes to selling things or purchasing things, don't get in a rush. I can't tell you how many times I've done things impulsively and paid a very heavy price for it, and this is one of those situations. And number two, the most important one, don't ship your belongings to somebody until you have actually received the payment. Don't fall for the same exact scam that I fell for, because I've paid the price and it's not fun. So hopefully you enjoyed this story. Very sorry that it didn't have a happy ending, but hopefully this goes as a valuable warning to some of my friends and people who watch these videos. Don't do what I did. Just don't do it. All right, that's it. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll just plan to see you in the next one. Bye.